So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Colonel de Laverne, current commander of the 516th Logistic Battalion, located in vicinity of Toul in France, Meurthe-et-Moselle. I commanded the Logistics Battalion in Mali from October 21 to March 22. During this mission, I was in charge of supporting Operation Barkhane in West Zone, mainly in Mali. Operation Barkhane is the major operation in which the French Army has been involved for almost 10 years. As you can see on the first slide, a soldier often walks, sometimes fights, but eats every day. As said Napoleon Ier, who founded the logistic specialty, the train in French, in the beginning of the 19th century. This sentence summarizes the core place of logistics in operation. Whatever the context, objectives, enemy, no tactics without logistics. The objective of my conference is to introduce you to logistics in operation through my feedback, this concrete example full of lessons and perspective of evolution. For obvious reasons, I focused my presentation on land logistics aspect, knowing that this subject is broader and multi-environment, especially in Barkhane. So, to introduce my speech, I would like to say that the reorganization of French troops in the Sahel-Syrian Strip, SSS or BSS in French, represent a real logistic challenge in a still degraded security context. Despite the upheavals at the geopolitical level, which each time had a strong impact on the tactical operational level by notably threatening the continuity of the line of communication and the logistical flows, the chain of support could ultimately be guaranteed without any interruption, above all thanks to the agility of the device deployed. What you must remember is the logistic deployment in BSS or SSS has been adapted to the specificities of this theater of operations. It cannot serve as a doctrinal model. On the other hand, I will try to show it. It confirms the validity of certain fundamental principles and reveals important lessons for future developments that will accompany the conflicts of tomorrow, in which logistics will remain central. I will begin my talk by recalling the context, to continue then focusing on transformation maneuver, to finish with lessons. The Logistic Battalion conducts operations in a demanding and complex context. During my mandate, strategic objective was the same, always the same for Barkhane: fight against terrorism, train partners, and promote a safe and secure environment. So for Logistic Battalion, for my battalion it was Dragoon, Logbat Dragoon. My main mission was to support operations in order to fight against terrorism, to support base logistic base, and participate in force protection as everybody. In the end, a mandate marked by transformation and uncertainties. We had to close the northern bases by the end of December. I speak about Tessalit. I will speak about Tombouctou. 3 bases in 5 months. Support the rise of the European Special Forces operation called Task Force Takuba. We had to deal with the arrival of strategic competitors and the modification of the operations ecosystem between the south part, between Coast Ivory and Mali. And finally, from February, to prepare the orderly departure from Mali. In summary, a log battalion, it's a real logistic combat tool serving the action and transformation of Barkhane. Moreover, the logistic battalion conducts operation in a demanding environment facing a determined enemy. Precisely, due to the high elongation that you can see in the slide. For convoys, it's mainly from 5 to 10 days to make 200 kilometers. Very long. The BSS imposes many constraints in terms of logistic flows. In addition to the induced load breaks, there is a fluctuating availability of vectors in the theater. We have to deal with a generally favorable and indifferent population, but which can be exploited. And finally, the last but not least, we had to deal with a difficult and complex environment against a determined enemy who has learned and progressed in 10 years of war despite our forced tactical victories. So, by then, during my mandate, Gao, because we closed 3 bases from the northern part, Gao has been quickly in the first line with consequences on our force protection. Now, a slice of theory to show what is the Barkhane operation device, considering the Army point of view. In theory, logistic is deployed from the metropolis to support the fighter, as you can see on the left side, logistic deployment theory, to support a volume of force greater than brigade, mobile and stock on wheels. It directly supports the integrated tactical battalions in all functions, logistic function, through the CSS Combat Support Company. This divisional supergroup at the division level is intended to be mobile with some stability and follow the maneuver. Under the order in Barkhane, in the other side, under the order of the operational command post and in the absence of a theater logistic basis, the log battalion, called GTD log in French, log battalion, is the main tactical support echelon of a force in the western zone adapted to supporting a force of above 5,000 soldiers. The BATLOG logistic battalion can combine the role of theater logistic entry point, as you can see on the slide, log battalion, and main support echelon of a force. A logistic company called SGL in French can be temporarily adapted to a combat unit at the battalion level. After this theory, to take a little aid, I would like to focus on the reinitial rearticulation maneuver from July 21 to February 22. This was the key objective during my mandate. I don't know if you can see as well, but this was the plan called for 3 steps and 4 loops, which you can see on the slide. First step, sort transport close in the northern part. After that, sort and store in Gao hub logistic. We have to redistribute, sell, eliminate, prepare, send. It was a key point at Gao at the second step. After that, a third step, transportation. It was a real loop from Gao to Abidjan mainly, or Niamey. It depends. And for the last step, the strategic routes from Espod, sea point of debarkation, to France by sea lane or airline. It depends on the freight. The plan The key success points were for this maneuver, with mainly 600 containers to take in Tombouctou, Kidal or Tessalit, and to push to Gao in 6 to 8 convoys. The key success was anticipation, coordination, and integration. During this time, Gao has become, as I said, the hub logistic in Mali. And definitely, it was a multi-environment approach and a specific chains where each link is important. After this slide, I would like to focus to the heart of the action of our troops with the main course of action, the convoy. The logistic battalion imposed itself as a tactical integrator of its given means to command the element made available into it in the field. So moreover, by having mobile controllers, the convoy leader can maneuver on the road with its infantry or cavalry at the platoon level and engineers. And also with three-dimension means made available. I would like to speak about helicopters, planes, and drones. You can see just in the slide specific operational logistics skills we have to deploy. So we have to prepare. After that, lifting operation and breaking load. Our convoys were very long, from 100 to 150 vehicles, mainly 15 kilometers to 20 kilometers long, very long for a convoy leader. And we have to be to face to the enemy. So next. Finally, as you can see on the slide, with this figure, thanks to an intense adaptive preparation, the Log Battalion Dragon ad hoc logistic combat unit structure, integrator of the logistic function, I would like to focus on integrator of all logistic function in the western zone of Parc and operation, carried out its mission efficiently, and demonstrating a constant resilience based above all on its ability to adapt. But now it's time to take a step back in order to identify lessons for logistics from my operation. Definitely, logistics has to deal with two major constraints. Enemy. It makes sense. Everywhere, mainly by IED, but not only IED, mainly during my mandate with indirect fire too, because Gao was in the first line. And the second major constraint, elongation, so logistic aspect. Logistic convoys are valuable on the field, both intel sensors and effectors. The operation level has used them as a pawn, or tactical pawn, as well as infantry, cavalry, not with the same missions, but we are valuable in the field. I would like to point out to the use of modern equipment from new Army model au contact. Shows a real operational bonus. CKS Griffon, for example, to illustrate it, I can put the stress on the use of new information system CKS in convoys, mainly with the tracking function. The use of the Griffon in support of the convoy was interesting for its impressive combat capabilities. I would like to speak about deterrence. When we are in front of hostile population, it was very interesting to have Griffon, 3-4 Griffon in the convoys. But not only for mobility capabilities too, as heavy recovery truck, because of its capabilities. the use of large capacity tank in a tactical context, or the use of the VAB, armored vehicle, Ultima, offering much better IOD protection. The fourth point, the need to have, I would like to focus to need to have a robust, long-range, multifunctional and high-capacity means. I would like to speak about trucks, carrier recovery vehicles, strategic tanks, associated with a median range, 4-6 ton trucks, handling equipment, essential for the logistics at the last kilometers. We have a need to rationalize and bring the supply chain under control, in particular to have a buffer stock in good condition at the right place at the right time. Interest of advanced maintenance. I would like to speak about three-dimension printers, remote maintenance, predictive maintenance, which validate the concept of capacity booster of combat potential. And finally, used in Mali since 2016 as part of convoys and area control mission. The use of drone is already well established and adapted to convoy, and it must be developed to optimize and increase effects to clear convoy or particular point. After that, I would like to speak about many fundamental principles, not only logistic, were confirmed too. Obviously, the principles of war, concentration of effort, economy of means, freedom from action. Logistic is part of an overall action, integrated, and applies a continuous support, modular, and optimized. Success requires demanding an appropriate operation preparation, which may be constantly adapted to the realities of the goal. Next point, Formula One driver as well aware that the logistic has its weight. Lightening the units at the front to mainly mobility and maneuverability. This means attach them the right means necessary not to slow them down, and therefore a transfer of the bulk of the log footprint to the rear. It's always, I have put it, a choice to find the right balance between tactical agility and ability to last, from lighting thus logistical autonomy. Sorry. Outsourcing is not a bad thing, since it makes it possible to concentrate the management means always contained, but it's necessary to keep full control of this course of action. At the heart of the battle, whoever loses control of the flows loses the war. Whoever loses control of the flows loses the war. Logistics can be summed up as a matter of flows that we must master it. I would like to speak about physical flows, immaterial flows. A force that does not pocket logistics seriously depletes its lifespan. Always, protection, mobility, invisibility are always vital key to survivability. Finally, you can see the last point here. Logistic needs increase with the arrival of a new program. I would like to focus in particular, so it will be necessary to really focus, despite this new program, on the universal triptych. Supply, ravitaillement, supply, REMI, maintenance, and health, SAN, santé, consubstantial combat forward, and life insurance in the storm. For Barkhane, the after Barkhane will be a complex and delicate challenges. First, it's a new challenge, 600 vehicles, and approximately 6,000 containers to get out. An ambitious timetable to closure Gossi, Menaka, and Gao, scheduled for second part on 22. And a maneuver back to mainland France, time segmented in operational and strategic depth. And so in an unfavorable environment, with a terrorist threat goes down to the south, with increasingly tense and even conflictual relations with certain regional players, and strain on strategic means of transport. To fulfill the mission, the logistic effort will focus on the conditioning of the resource and the risk on the safety on the convoys. So finally, some forward-looking thoughts. The transition from war to war, from a war to the war, requires reflection on the logistic aspect. This transition from the reference operational situation, symbolized with Barkhane, Operation Barkhane, to major engagement hypothesis, HEM, defined as a small joint operation, requires a return to the fundamental principle of simplicity, verticality, responsiveness, consistency between contractors and resources. We must clarify the real consequences of Scorpion for logistics in terms of future development on processes, common system, and equipment. We must also question our dependence on outsourcing, and be able to transport the complete autonomy of a division, full division committed from the outset. Are we able to transport it today? It is necessary to solve the problem of geographical discontinuity of the support generated naturally by the combat in depth, a characteristic of the combat Scorpion. Its mastery of the way to solve the problem of geographic discontinuity. Its mastery is an indicator of logistic maturity. To integrate the Scorpion logistic model into the Army, project to better respond to the acceleration of the decision-making flow and support essential capability repair. To conclude, what you must remember today, the model deployed in BSS is not doctrinal. It's an adapted model deployed for a specific war, tailored for a specific need in a specific context. Nevertheless, the logistic battalion remains the integrator of support at the tactical level. It has been a laboratory from which confirms fundamental laws and opens up new ways of reflection to better support tomorrow. I would like to end with a sentence. With high-intensity warfare and Scorpion fight, logistics doesn't change in nature. It changes in scale. So, thank you for attention. And pending your question in French or English, I don't care. It depends. We have 2 or 5 minutes. No questions? I was clear. It was clear? Okay. Thanks a lot. Thank you for your attention.